the moment. He walked in ready and, of course, looking very smart this morning. I envy his look, though. This morning, we're going to be looking at politics. You cannot take away politics as the day goes by. Everything is gradually evolving into some kind of political happening or political conversation, and we do not want to be left back. Recent developments lately has provoked political conversations that we must move with the tide on a daily. And today, we're going to be looking at the North yet again. The North. Why are we looking at the North? We're looking at the North because of recent developments in the country. We're looking at the North because of recent conversations lately by some northern elites, which seems to suggest or pre-suggest that it does look like the North is not ready to give power. It does look like that the North is not ready for rotational presidency. I am not concluding, but I am saying this because of recent developments. I mean, seriously, when you have somebody as controversial as Baba Ahmed, and then you have the Arewa Consultative Forum, and then you have Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, you have Nasir El-Rufai, and then you have some other northern elites who are promoting and pushing conversations as though the North is going to be a determining factor in 2027. There was a gentlemanly, arrangement some time back, when Nigeria was formed, that power will rotate between the North and the South. It's been that way. But somewhere along the line, I've also listened to people say that in the equation, in the calculation, we haven't exactly been fair to the North. That calculation was obstructed. It was obstructed by Goodluck Jonathan. I'll tell you how. So for people who are talking about fairness and balance and equity, they will tell you that when Yar'Adua passed on, Yar'Adua's 8 years was completed by Jonathan, and Jonathan did one extra. Jonathan wanted to complete 8 years, but that was obstructed. And that in itself, there's something called the matrix. That altered the matrix, the calculation of, North and South rotational presidency. And that may be perhaps one of the grouse that the North holds. Because if you do the calculation, some of the persons will suggest also on the other side that, look, if we talk about the military interregnum, we have had more of the military from the North hold power. But then they were not talking about the North and South. It was about whoever is able to grab power as at that time. So if it was an Igbo man that was a commander or something that is able to grab power, that's it. If it was a northerner that was a commander and was able to grab power, that's it. So they weren't talking about it, but this whole rotational presidency came on at some point. And so the North still harbors a grouse that in this calculation, they have not exactly gotten a fair, a fair opportunity. Look at it. How long did Obasanjo have? Obasanjo had 8 years. They tried to do a third term, but of course, factors didn't worked against them, and that didn't happen. And then Yar'Adua came on board, and of course, Yar'Adua died there, and then Jonathan. The North is saying at this point, especially kingmakers in the North, they are saying, look, if you undermine the influence of the North in 2027, you're making a big mistake. And if you think that the North will not be a factor to be reckoned with in the scheme of things in 2027, you're making another mistake. So here comes the conversation, the North and rotational presidency. Is the North opposed to rotational presidency? Sorry to say, with all due respect, is there an insatiable appetite for the grab of power by only a few privileged persons in a particular region? Is there a fair balance when we talk about the mix? Okay, you do yours, I do mine. These are conversations we will establish as I welcome my guest this morning, who has earned for himself a name as a forensic researcher. This is a no-holds-barred conversation, and my guest is a no-holds-barred personality. Join me as I welcome the convener of the Open Forum Care for Humanity Foundation. It used to be the town hall, in the period of the town hall. But we're done with the town halls.
Let me interrupt you. The town hall is just one of the initiatives that we do. And guess what?
On a joking note, I said we're done with the town halls.
I understand.
And you remember the town halls I was talking about.
That's different.
But it's great to have you on board. And you look pretty smart this morning. I must give it to you. You never look your age. Is there a special chemical you drink every morning to make you look younger?
Yes.
A special chemical?
A special chemical.
Please share with me, please.
Water.
Don't tell me that.
I did that since I was a teenager. It's my routine, and water is an anti-aging thing.
I've seen people in their 40s all bearded up with white and all of that. Even 30s, all white beard and all that.
Not just the beards. You see their skin
looking all wrinkled and old and all of that.
Old. And sometimes...
And you're 50-something? And you don't look that.
Why are you talking like this? In August, you are going to be one of our eminent guests when I'll be 60.
Are you serious?
I'll be 60 in August.
And you don't look it.
Why should I look it? When there's battle to be fought. When God has to make the sun and the moon to hold themselves for things to be done.
And you're still bouncy, you're still bouncing like a Lagos boy, still hustling and all of that. You keep pace. When we walk sometimes, and I see that you're not slow. You keep pace. You're much like a soldier.
I don't go there because you just change the conversation. There's a trick to it. You can't cheat nature, despite the looks. I went from my daughter's St. Sports so many years ago, and they were to do parents' race. And, I feel like a teenager. So I told my wife I'm going to be part of that race. In fact, I'm going to be ahead. She said, don't try it. I said, no, I bounced, got my son's sports shoes, wore it, started, trying to do exercise. By the time I went to join the other parents, one of the sport organizers told me, no, you can't join them. You are so young. You are going to stay in front. Let these ones, let the elderly ones, I'm going to be at the back. Let the elderly ones be ahead of me.
Without even knowing your age.
You didn't know my age. I told him, look at you. Do you know how old I am? That's not the story. The story is by the time we started the race, I was racing against some people who are in the sports council. And my wife looked for me in front row. She didn't see me. She looked at the middle. She didn't see me.
So where were you then?
I was between the last batch and the middle people. And, and I came back and said, what happened? I said, I only managed to finish the race. I couldn't see. Why? I've not tuned myself for that kind of thing. So despite the way you feel, there are things you must not attempt. Otherwise, you'll be in for it.
So we can say you are stubborn. You don't want to age.
No, for one, it's been a request. I have a peculiar story. Let's not go there. I pray to God to keep me young for as long as possible, because even though I have not been doing my duty, I'm a church cleaner. I wash the toilets, do the gutters, clean the seats. That's what I do, even if I'm the president of this whole wide world. And it would not be too nice to see one aged man doing those things. We say, this one, me for talk about it. Maybe it's the fun. He's trying to clean the seat so that nobody will sit there and get blessing and all of that. I want to be youthful. And above all, I think a lot.
Okay.
I learned that when you engage your brain purposefully, it helps you to stay young.
Some kind of rejuvenation.
I don't know how it happens, but one is the grace of God. Because talking about the energy you're talking about, I walk at times 2-4-7 for 5 days, 7 days non-stop. I have done that. And what I experience is just God that helped me to be back to myself. Non-stop. I will walk and faint. As I speak with you, I do the work of 3 to 5 people every day of my life.
Mr. Citizen, let's leave that because we will just leave the conversation and talk about your secret and all of that.
Yeah.
But Citizen, I have laid the foundation to our conversation.
Yes.
And I also talked about people who say that there's an unfair balance in that mix, that the North's position was altered. Is the North against rotational presidency? I'd like to begin from there.
There's a feeling that people have, and that feeling, because of lack of knowledge, it creates fear in them. And some people take action based on fear, which has been said to be false evidence appearing real. And we have never, as a people, politically speaking, have such time that now, where fear is walking
on two legs,
and people who are supposed to see beyond the veil fall victim. If you know what I know, Ike, like I think there was a turbulence in mid-air, and people panicked. The passengers in the aircraft panicked, and somebody said to the person that sat beside, "If you know what I know, you won't have any fear." And what is that? There is a superior understanding. And where you have a covenant, I'm a spiritual person, where you have direction, where you have heard from the source of life, let the whole world move in one direction. Like, you'll be doing your own thing alone, which is what some of us are doing.
And you have a niche for yourself.
No. You can't be swayed. No matter who comes to the table with whatsoever evidence or intimidation. Why? Because you know the truth.
Okay.
If you know the truth, you see some of these things and you laugh at it. Even when they manipulate things and seem to have their way, they will pay for it. So the issue of North determining the pace of politics of Nigeria, even though it was laid as a foundation, even though it is also a spiritual thing to them, because the person that they hold dear, the man that is seen to be their forebear, who migrated somewhere, came to the country and, settled and started conquering territories, he made a statement. And that is to the effect that the target is the sea. There's no sea, that kind of sea up north. The target is the south. And when the Britons, our colonial masters, were to leave, they did what has been acknowledged by even people who were in that system: manipulation, to give power to a people they felt they could work with because they were less educated and they could be less, they posed less resistance. And since they did not have the economic power, give them political power so that they could be balanced between the North and the South. And certain persons who were supposed to have cured that, they didn't look at that as a big deal. Why? Because of the system that made us to become a country. We are not a nation. Anytime you hear somebody talk about nation, even that president is their president, say nation. We don't have a nation. A nation has to do about one people who have one vision, one direction, and they are just together. Nigeria is not, we are a country. In fact, Bafemogole will call it geographic expression. There's no way you can point to, these are Nigerians. I understand. There's nothing like that. There are no Nigerians. Everything was coined to put up this business. Nigeria was a business, and the name of Nigeria earlier was a business name. Royal Niger Company and all of that, it was just a business name, a territory for business. So that's just by the way. So the leaders, the forebears, and even the Sardauna and that emerged, they made statements to the effect that the North has to hold on to power, and then the South is like a cow we hold while they do the milking. You even find, I think it was Shehu Shagari that also made a statement showing that the North has the right to hold on to power. He was a very quiet, looking almost unassuming person, but when it comes to want to boost the ego and then cheer up your people, let them know you know what they represent. But for us, and for those who are interested in development, for some of us who don't have tribes, my tribe is humanity, Ike. And I'm not alone. As you are sitting here, maybe you never thought of this, the tribe of Ikechukwu. They are not a Deltan. Are you worried or Isoko or which one? Which one are you? Let me know today.
I'm from the Igbo-speaking part.
Oh, beautiful. You are not Delta Igbo. Your tribe is humanity. And until anybody comes to that consciousness, no matter the position that person holds, anything he does will be for self. There will be no love. And wherever and whatever anybody does that is not out of love is sin. I credit that to Barrister James Essien. I hosted him on my program and he made that statement and it defined who I am, who some people are that I know. Anything you do must be out of love. So when you hear North, without North, there can be no Nigeria. It is a lie. And let me also say this for our leaders in Akwa Ibom, in the South, particularly those that are defecting, they say they want to take the South or Akwa Ibom to the center. Do you know where the center is? We are the center.
Why are we?
Because whatsoever is required for Nigeria to survive and sustain even those that don't want to work but they make more money than others come from here. Which other center do you need than where the resources? We have leaders who laid the foundation not just for the state but for the country, enough that one of us was made the chief judge of a foreign land, Uganda. When you look for brains, the best brains, you come to Akwa Ibom, the former southeastern Nigeria, Cross River, now Akwa Ibom. So where is the center? False evidence appearing real. If there is no peace for Nigeria to make their money from oil and gas that Akwa Ibom gives more than any other state, they will do like our man, God bless his soul, one of the best presidents we had, Umaru. Are you there? Yar'Adua. He knew that without peace in the Niger Delta, he would never be able to sleep. He would never be able to balance whatsoever records that they have at the center. And so he brought amnesty. And guess what? In Akwa Ibom State, even those that claim to have been militants here, we're not even allowed to show face. Some people came from outside to come and declare that they were militants here because even the governor then said there were no militants in the Akwa Ibom State. And you can rightly say so. But they were militants. Some of our sons were doing militancy outside. I've been in touch with one of them who went on amnesty. He's still there overseas. So what are we looking at? You must be able to even define reality. The center is not Abuja.
Okay.
The center is here. So the North cannot make everybody to say that without them. No. Why? Because even what they were able to achieve, and the greatest achievement that happened was the Buhari emergence as the president. It was not because of northern power and capacity. It was a collaborative effort. And the greatest contribution to that was made by the South. So, it is an error. You cannot have, for me to use the term, a beggar with choice. Like somebody said, at the Lagos International Airport, Mohammed International Airport, a beggar came and begged somebody, and the person gave him naira. You know what the beggar said? Oh God, you don't get dollars.
You're traveling out, you should have dollars.
At the airport, you should be dealing with dollars. They are beggars with choice. But it is a mindset which you need to correct. That is why you find a lion, because of the mindset, eating up an elephant, attempting to kill an elephant.
Even a giraffe.
Even giraffe small. Crocodile. Why? The mindset. But when you even go and meet some wild dogs, you see the fight. You see the fight. A local saying in my place said that they came to arrest Gokomerong, that is he-goat. And he was just picked, and the animal said, "Please don't take me like that." He said, "What?" He said, "Just give me a moment. I'm not running away." You know what he did? It scratched the earth in the compound. Scratch it. He said, "What are you doing?" He said, "So that When the house owners come back, they will know that there was a struggle before I was taken away. You get me? Our people. In fact, I'm so ashamed at the posturing of those who should be calling the shots like a Bongota. Partly Peter Odili. People that had views on national issues and would take a stand where the whole country would stand still and come to negotiate. Are you aware that a man called Baginzu, former governor of Kaduna State, that he was a pro-resource control advocate? Yeah, a northern governor. He was speaking, I think it should be Baginzu also. He used to speak. Barabe Musa? Oh, I'm sorry, those that are hearing. Balarabe Musa. It should be Balarabe Musa, not
Bakinsu.
Not Bakinsu, the man that government money, government house.
Yeah. Balarabe.
Yes. He was pro-issues. He faced issues. He wasn't sentimental, unlike the man that said the North owns the oil, that because of the geography, you see, when you look at the map, North is up there, the oil is dripping from the North. They come and tap it here, so the oil belongs to the North. Those kind of mentalities, and those that cannot think will fall for it. It is a time to let the whole world know that there is no North without the South. And the center is not Abuja.
Okay, now, Citizen, these are historical backgrounds that you're laying and trying to correct, narratives, trying to reshape thinking and change opinions. Let us look at the scheme of things.
Yeah.
Over the years, there exists a gentlemanly agreement that, okay, power swings a bit to the north for 8 years, swings a bit to the north, to the south. And all of that. But, all of that was altered when Yar'Adua passed on.
Let me stop you there.
Okay.
When nature sets in, there's a limit to how humans can want to reorder nature. It's like you trying to see the butterfly going through the metamorphosis, and you see the struggling, and you feel that, it's going to die. You now go to open it before it matures. It dies.
You kill it.
It dies. So, whatsoever happened, and the manipulation that those who held the levers of power did then, including even the wife, that this man was so sick, and this man had a nature. He wasn't a nuisance. It was not even a new thing that he was sick for the first time. As the governor of Katsina State, we heard that there were times he was out of office, out of the state for months on health grounds. But because our man, Baba, as they used to call him, Obasanjo, who introduced strongly this issue of a leader choosing a successor, something that, thank God for the Senate President, he spoke about it over the weekend. He has warned governors, look, see this successor stuff? You want to go and pick somebody you can use, you are deceiving yourself. Somebody does not want power. You go and give somebody that does not want power, you will cry. Now, Obasanjo played with choices. I've said this once. Somebody mentioned that during the, worship in the government house chapel, then he went and stood before a particular person. He ministers. And standing direct to that person, he said, he made a statement as to the fact that, the mantle has fallen. And those that were there, they read the body language to mean that the mantle has fallen on that person. And from what I read, let me mention the name. This is our Christian brother from Niger State.
Which one?
The former MAMSA man. I think it was MAMSA. Professor Jerry Ghana.
Okay, Jerry Ghana.
Professor Jerry Ghana. I'm repeating a story. Somebody who is supposed to have been there was telling me, saying where I got to hear, that Jerry Ghana left the morning service and started setting structure because the mantle had fallen. The next, after some time, another worship session, And our preacher man came out with another message. There are righteous people in every religion. And that was the end of it. Righteous people in every religion. Who was the righteous person? The righteous person happened to have been Musa. Why am I forgetting our man?
Umaru Musa
Yar'Adua. That was how the switch came. And by this time, Obongota and Peter Odili, the strongest forces from the south, who, out of provocation, not because they would not have loved to have zoning power rotate from the south to the north, but because they just believed that an error must be corrected. Why? Obasanjo had fault. But because sycophants in the system, people that have been promoted beyond capacity they have so much capacity that they can rubbish anybody. So these persons aspired to be president. And Obongata will have been one of the best things to happen to leadership in this country. And Obasanjo said, no, this one, impossible. He made sure he dealt with everybody to make sure you cannot move forward. And then they even picked the vice. They don't say, Obong Victor Ta, please, come and deputize Yar'Adua. Or Peter Odili, come and deputize Yar'Adua. They went and picked somebody who has won to be governor of Bayelsa State, whose wife, I think, was being investigated at that time. And from what we heard, the man said, I don't want. And from I don't want, they gave him a timeline to say yes. Otherwise, what do you stand to lose now? I beg, go take this thing. They begged, or they forced Jonathan to become vice president. So that was how our man, Umaru, became president and Jonathan vice president. And yes, elections have never, unless June 12, 1993, have never been such that even the voters will go back and be satisfied that they won us. They were said to be manipulations. Some people allege that the even results were written before the elections. And Umaru was so honest, and he said, the election that brought me to power was faulty. That was a northerner. But what happened thereafter? When he died, it's only proper that the vice president should take over. People resisted.
Yes.
Now,
that's the scheme of things now. That's the scheme of things.
Anybody that wants to use that nature intervention to say that South shouldn't have aspired to be president, that person should be looked at.
Obasanjo had just finished.
Yes.
And Musa died.
Yes.
Okay. To complete that 8 years of the North.
You can
hold on, citizen.
Yes.
Don't you think it would have been in the spirit of this rotation and for equity and fairness that a Northerner would have completed that 8 years? Because that's perhaps one of the graphs that the North still has.
That opportunity that came for the South to emerge was never utilized. I tell you sincerely, the two regions in the country that will have been without a president, even for a term or part term, will have been not just Southeast, but South, and Southeast. Why? Fast forward, was Obasanjo not from the West?
Southwest.
Did he spend 8 years?
He did, and he wanted to spend more.
Good. Thank God for people like Atiku, Namani, and others, and the impact of him that stopped him. Now, where is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu from?
Southwest.
Then, is it thinkable that Southwest that did 8 years as president, Southwest that did 8 years as vice president under with Osibajo, could produce the next president in a country like Nigeria?
We will not do the Southwest. We will just put the whole thing as South.
No. Good.
We'll put it as South.
Good. Because you want to dodge the ray of the light. You can't. What I'm saying in essence, nature intervened. And because the man that people felt, because of his mien, he did not know anything. Today, they are the ones confessing. In fact, even after they blackmailed him, abused him out of office, used foreign powers to intimidate him out of office, which Jonathan has documented. I'm talking about Obama's rule, America's rule. Now, they even tried to lure him to come back and take over from them. And people like us said, Jonathan, don't go there. That is one, too. You cannot say that Southwest, because Obasanjo was there, now Asiwaju is there. Let's not call it Southwest, let us call it South. No. The bottom line is that we have a systemic issue which, until we correct it, even if the current coalition that is made up of people who, I'm going to give you the quote, very, very important quote, one of the most frank conversations, and I never knew, honestly speaking, I've never had such regard for the man called Senator Seriake Dickson, former governor of Bayelsa State, until this weekend. What did he tell the coalition of those who want to see that Siwaju does not do a second term? He told them at the 60th birthday, talk about 60th birthday.
Rotimi Amechi, that was over the weekend. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was there. All of them were there.
Now, he told them point blank, and I watched the video. You conspired, remove Jonathan, yet nothing changed. Shine your eyes. The full story. When I came in here, talking about the venue, climbing up here, I've seen a lot of you. You people, I've seen a lot of you. By climbing, I've seen a lot of you. And as my brother said, there are a number of you who are expert conspirators, who know how to assemble coalitions and then take out governments as you did to my party in 2015. And when you did so, particularly to a clueless government, that's what they call Jonathan, so-called. Now, 11 years down the line, we thought that there would have been no weaponization of poverty and that all the challenges of Nigeria would have gone. And the only advice I can give, not being a professional coalition builder and conspirator, as some of you are, is, at this time, shine your eyes. What does that tell you? The people who are leading the formation of a coalition have become expert conspirators. The man called Muhammadu Buhari would never, I'm speaking as a man, not God, but as somebody that is true to himself, he would never have smelled Aso Villa as a civilian president. Because even as the military head of state, he was flushed out by his mate that he was clueless. In fact, he wasn't even in power. Just the camouflage, this fear of a thing, false evidence appearing real. Now, he emerged. Why? Because there was a coalition of the North and the South. There can never be any successful coalition without the South playing a prominent role. And who was there from the South? Rotimi Amechi. And why did Rotimi Amechi decide to go and play opposition, leaving his party? He had a genuine grouse. When you oppressed a man, when you feel that you are a god and you want to be a narcissist, your victim will become your nightmare. And that is also because it is nature. In every adversity, there is an equivalent seed of goodness if you are able to extract it. So, what happened? Amechi was the chairman of Governors Forum in Nigeria. And our man, His Excellency Governor Godswill Akpabio, was a power block in this country. And he had the ears of Mr. President. And because of a face-off over a small tribal community issue in Rivers State between Amechi and the wife of the president, everything was lost in that sector. And the battle started. They used to shoot gun now in government house. They used to block the governor from, he would not leave government house. You will see it like you are watching Nigeria movie, live. And the man said, I don't have hope here. I need to affiliate. And when there was even negotiation, that okay, finish your tenure, leave by this time. as chairman of Governors Forum, because Governors Forum was very powerful, not now that there's no Governors Forum. I can say it. Why? Because there are no leaders among the governors. If Nigeria started like this in 1999, there will have been no Nigeria.
Okay. Let's continue.
So, now, Amaechi now went and aligned with the opposition. Why? Because after an agreement, a meeting brokered, where it was agreed that Amaechi, finish your tenure, leave. This election for the new Governors Forum will be done this time so that another person can take over. By the time they left, there was a voting. Let me just narrow it down. They voted. And 16 against 19. And the announcement was that Amaechi had 16 votes. Meanwhile, Amaechi had 19 votes. Those against him had 16 votes. Guess what? Those that had 16 said 16 is higher than 19. And
I remember that saying.
Yes, and they left the place. The one that had the ear of Jonathan, when I told Jonathan was to go to, I think, Ethiopia or Egypt for a meeting. He told the man, go, we'll take care of it. Including with the then Vice President, Namadi Sambo. They went and hired a brand new building as the new building for the Governors Forum. For the 16 that is greater than 19. And Amaechi knew this battle, you need people to stand and fight with you. So that was what led to the coalition, where Atiku, Amaechi, and some others walked out of a national convention. There was not too much notice. They went there as PDP members. But while there, they need to stitch something that will be a bomb. Strategic thinking. They left. And PDP felt, who are they? There's nothing they can do. After all, Jonathan is from the Bayelsa.
From
Rivers,
the south.
Not just south. Rivers and Bayelsa, they are like Ikonondoini. You know, Tulugo Rivers in Akwa Ibom State, they still bind themselves together as one. I'm happy about that. So they made a mistake. Why? Because Amaechi is not lousy. Yeah. He's a fighter, but he doesn't look like one. And sometimes, like I complain about him, when he should fight, he does not fight. He will be telling the citizens, go and fight now. He just called us, call citizens, permit to use the term like stupid, that the problem of Nigeria is not leaders.
I've seen that video.
Yeah, the citizens. Yeah, because you can't allow what is going to go on, then you blaming leaders.
I've seen that video. I think he did that video, on one of those occasions when he just recently got his conferment for his law degree.
He said it again just last week.
At his birthday?
I think that is better. Whatever.
No, I think it was when this coalition had a meeting in Abuja.
Yes,
last week.
Exactly.
He was there.
Yes, he said so. That the problem of Nigeria is not leadership. It's not leaders. It is the citizens. Because they're so gullible. Look at the youth. Go and fight. Stop this nonsense going on and all of that. But he doesn't when he should, because by the time he saw the outcome or what was going on at the Eagle Square or wherever they did their presidential nomination, which he was so much on ground, just like Wike, very strong. But Asiwaju of the universe swept everybody. Look at that video. Look at the way our president was looking. Look at the face of Buhari.
He was dumbfounded.
Stupefied. He was miserable. Whereas his wife, Aisha, was full of life.
Celebrated
that was her candidate.
Yeah, celebrated Tinubu's emergence.
So, the South, and particularly Rivers State, have always had a very critical role to play in coalition. And that coalition, when I merged, they became NPDP, new PDP, small n. And then they did what they did to Jonathan and Ike. My friends, my close associates who are hearing me will know that I said it, that I analyzed the situation and I told people that cared to hear. You see PDP, you see Jonathan, that he was going to fail the election with between 8 to 10 million votes. Why? I plotted everything and I gave out the result. It happened. In fact, the scoreline was small because Jonathan, through some some technical strategic thinking, extended the election to give him more time to be able to run around the entire country and just get some numbers, which he did at a price. And I wrote in Open Forum magazine, I said, if Jonathan does not reset Nigeria, he was going to leave Nigeria worse than he met it. It's there. It's going to be put out to the world soon. So what are we looking about? South. There's no North without the South.
No.
Now, so let me just...
You're giving some historical backgrounds,
yes.
and I'm following.
Yeah.
However, there are persons who will say in the politics of Nigeria, numbers count. And while some persons will dismiss the reality of realities, if you know what I mean, in terms of numbers, some will tell you that in truth, the North has the numbers. And in every political dispensation, the North and the numbers as played out.
Still part of the FEAR. Fear. False evidence appearing real. Why has these numbers not reflected in the tax records? Why has this number not reflected in the VAT consumption? Why has this number not reflected in the payment of electricity bills? Why is the number from the North only important when it comes to election? And that answer was given by none other than Kwankwaso and Kao Baraje. What did they say? Kwankwaso said that they sent out Jonathan through the use of almajiris. Google it. Listeners, Google it. That they use almajiris. These are mostly underage children. And guess what, Ike? Fact check. In the South, as literate as we are, the number of void votes is always more than the North, where you have predominantly almost 20 million or more almajiris, a number of whom vote, but above all the numbers, Ike, would the INEC that we have, with their own self-confession to their weakness, their inability to conduct election without glitches, without issues, anybody that tells me that we've been getting even close to 50% of the actual election result in Nigeria, I would love that person just to bring the data out and to convince us. I would love to follow the person. We cannot rely on the records of voters compared with the actual voting, compared with who they voted for, compared with number of registered voters. We have over 90 million registered voters. Like 20-something million people voted in the last election. And we had Mr. President at 8-point-something million votes as the winner. In a society that was doing 1 million man march in different states, in where we watch people being beaten, not allowed to vote.
That's another charade. Let's leave that.
No,
Hold on.
I'm just telling you something.
I know when I use the term, I use the term guidedly in the numbers and your analysis. But let's leave that.
Okay. So the summary of that is that the number we hear in the North is not real. It is part of the mindset which you who should be able to say, no, we have thinkers. Please give us analysis on this. And we don't want to use it. You now be afraid. Afraid of what?
Okay. Now, citizen.
Yes.
In your story, in the amalgamation, you said that the British, in their scheming, said while one has the economic power, the other one should hold political power because of their disadvantage. And that in itself is something that, worked from that time and it's still holding sway to some extent. Don't you think that in itself is an advantage?
I love the way you ask questions.
That they still use till tomorrow.
It's not an advantage. It's a disadvantage. Why? North holds the highest number of poor people as a section of any country, possibly in the whole world, because they have not been able to translate the power they have wielded into wealth, into the improvement of the welfare and security of their people. Hear what Bala Mohammed, one of the persons, in fact, the chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, is one of the most vocal now. He has never been so vocal in all his life until now. He said, North lacks a unified plan, grappling with internal divisions, economic and security disaster. Are you with me, Ike? If somebody who is trying to build PDP, this is somebody whose video I have transcribed and I'm going to document it for posterity. He said in his video that North, that's another angle I should have brought into this issue of population and numbers, that Fulanis don't have a tribe. Their tribe is, their country is Nigeria. Wherever they are in the whole world, that Nigeria is their country. And nobody in Bayelsa, they speak Bayelsa because they are from Bayelsa. Invariably, they are also from Akwa Ibom. So nobody should say Fulani is not a Nigerian. Any Fulani is a Nigerian. Fact checked. Now, that's something you must put into the equation when you are looking at this very issue. So what the Britons did, they actually impoverished and destroyed the North by giving them the false sense of entitlement that with that power they are nothing, because they have used that power to destroy themselves. There's one thing you must know. You see some of these big mansions you see in some of the areas in Akwa Ibom or even Abuja. Ike, if you know what goes on within those mansions, you will not want to live there. You envy people. See somebody driving a car that you wonder, how did he even get here? And you find that he has found peace. You are seeing one very massive, miserable, possible person who is looking for help. And once in a while, they go and prostrate before the devil and say, please, deliver me. Be my guide. I worship you. That is what happens. So that false idea that, this region is together. Bala Mohammed says that they lack unified plans. They also lack the ability for economic decision. And they lack love. What I started with. They don't love the North.
Will that not be contrary to the position of the ACF, which is also another very critical factor?
What did they say?
Hold on. The ACF.
Yes.
And of course, one person in the ACF, in the Northern Bloc, that has been very vocal is Baba Ahmed.
Very well.
The ACF said they've declared that the North poses the population, the landmass, and the unified, hold on, please, before you laugh, and the unified voice needed to determine the outcome of the 2027 presidential election. Hold on, before you respond.
Yes.
Senator Elisha Abo was like the spokesperson when they recently held a meeting, a coalition meeting in Abuja. I think it was the same week when you and I are talking about, I think it was in last week or 2 weeks or so. So Elisha Abo says the North is angry with this president because he hasn't treated them well. Elisha Abo is not the only one who has made this statement. There are a couple of disgruntled, forgive me to use again, guidedly.
Go ahead.
Persons also who say that the president has not been fair to the North. However, Reno Omokri did an analysis to say the North has gotten a lot of benefits from this president. However, the people who hold political power and blocks in the North, you have El-Rufai.
Yes.
Alhaji Atiku Abubakar.
Yes.
Even more vocal lately, Lamido. They still ascribe power to the North. You take these things for granted?
I've told you, I am a situation room person. I think for a living. I think for myself. And I think for society. And one of the products of that thinking is the fact that you see me, you know part of the things I go through, but I still look like this guy no get problem at all. It's not that kind of thing. Why? Because you have solutions and you are guided. There are people that deceive themselves. Let me not throw away everybody. You need to analyze who is speaking. Leave Elisha Abu. Elisha Abu doesn't have what it takes.
Of course we know. We know his issue with the Senate and all of that.
Beyond that, his personal lifestyle.
Yeah, we know him.
Good. Leave Reno Mokri. Reno Mokri was someone I used to follow on Facebook when I was on Facebook. But I discovered that you cannot, and you must be careful when you are following somebody.
No. The thing is, for me, I am one who takes the message, and I'm not really concerned about the messenger.
Yeah, you do that.
I take the message, sieve. I do a lot of sieving.
When you need to balance the act, you must look at everything. Otherwise, now...
Citizen, you've not answered me.
No, I'm coming. I'm narrowing down things. Who are the real arrowheads? The ones that if you grab them, they can turn tomorrow and do wonders. The person is El Rufai. He has done it to everybody he has worked with. Whatsoever he believes in, he will go headlong. If he needs to worship you, he kneels to greet any leader that he works for. And when it's time to stand up, he will tell you to your face that you don't know anything. Hear what he has said about the government, that he was the greatest person that spearheaded in the north and mobilized the south, until even the southern people became traitors. Talking about the south, producing the next president after Buhari, who was his boss. El Rufai, Nigeria is in its biggest trouble since 1914. And that is why we are together working and conspiring.
The word
conspiring to build a coalition to take Nigeria back on track, because it is off track.
Yeah, but that's little wonder Seriake Dickson called them
conspirators. Experts.
In fact, he was very vocal in that birthday. He gave it to them.
Seriake is my new man. We have allowed bandits, not the ones in the bushes, but the ones in the urban area called urban bandits, to take over leadership. I believe that the problem that we have is that we just get incompetent people and we hand over leadership to them. Most of them don't really know what to do. They just know how to grab power, but don't know what to do with it. I think the key challenge of Nigeria in 2027 is really to look at those who are offering themselves for leadership and pick those who have competence and capability, commitment to move Nigeria forward. Still at this Amechi's birthday. And what was the topic of this public lecture? Weaponization of poverty.
Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was the first to speak on that.
As a means of underdevelopment, a case study of Nigeria. This topic, awesome. The speakers, the one I've not been able to read because I heard you do the paper review, is what? Asiwaju's friend and business associate,
Soyinka.
Wole Soyinka said.
Yeah.
He speaks codedly. It was only in Jonathan that he would call Jonathan and call the wife by very terrible names. He wouldn't even look like somebody that has a word, even at the ward level, not talking of a Nobel laureate. But he's been very careful, having to do with his friend and brother, Asiwaju. But for him to have been there and to have said something having to do with that Amechi is giving Asiwaju,
the president, a dose of his own medicine.
A dose of his own medicine.
Okay, but there's a critical point there.
Yes.
There's a critical point from what El Rufai said.
Yes.
Which is a point you have always made.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to track it back.
Okay.
Weaponizing of poverty.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times I can take my head back to times when I've held sessions with you.
Yes.
And you said one of the North's biggest undoing is weaponizing poverty.
Theirs is worse than weaponizing poverty. You can weaponize poverty. Akwa Ibom holds the highest number of poor people in the entire South. 71.8 million, 71.8% of the population of Akwa Ibom people are under the, multidimensional poverty.
Well, that's according to the last survey?
The last survey under Udemi Mando's administration.
Okay, that's the MBS's survey.
Yes.
I remember that survey.
Umoino inherited. Okay. So, but do we look peaceful? Are we being praised for being so organized? Yes. Because my people will say that when you are drunk, it's your nature that will play out. If you are a violent person, you will destroy things.
Citizen.
Yes.
Time is going.
Good, no problem.
And it will be absolutely unfair.
We are doing our best.
If we continue this conversation. There's so much to talk. But the listener has to be a part.
Yeah.
From the beginning, I'd asked the question. We have looked at the political schemings.
Yes.
We looked at the power blocks and all of that. You have maintained that the center is the South. In your analysis, you've maintained that.
Yes.
And there are people who have come out to say, look, the North is a determining factor in any presidency, whether not South, it go, Abina, North, it come. North is a determining factor. Here is the question.
Ask me.
Which I would want you to just, say, and then we go to the phone lines.
Okay.
It's the question I asked you before. Is the North, for any reason, against rotational presidency? Put all this analysis together and everything, the facts and the backgrounds you've laid. Is the North, for any reason, against rotational presidency?
Even the South has been against rotational presidency. The North, Buhari would never have won election, but for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was a Southerner, who galvanized the North and the South to unseat Jonathan, who was doing very well. Asiwaju is now the president. The question we should be asking, is there justification? Is there justification? Do we truly have power bandits? Or like I say, I used to use that term long ago. I call them power bandits and treasury terrorists. So, is there a case? Is there a problem to be solved? If you cannot answer that question, you will not be able to even help the person in power.
Now, the question I had asked.
The question I've answered you. It is not a matter of, identifying a particular section as being against rotation. No.
Even the South is against rotation.
The South is against rotation.
So even the South usurps itself.
Yes.
We'll hold it there, citizen. Let's just give people something to ponder on. 0906 000 4945. Alternatively, 0906 000 5945. This is a very deep and critical conversation. So if you're calling, make sure that you have grasp.
You must be fitting.
Grasp of the conversation. Don't come there. It is like a man that said when they said when HIV and AIDS was reigning then in the 90s, and so they lined up people and they said they all had HIV and AIDS, and they said, "You have HIV and AIDS?" And this person said, "Yes." They said, "How do you feel?" One says, "I feel like I'm dying." Okay. The other one said, "You have HIV and AIDS?" He said, "Yes." "How do you feel?" "I don't feel myself." And then they asked the third person who joined the bandwagon because the person thought that was what was raining. And so they asked the third person, "How do you feel?" Say, "They pay me for Bele." Let me leave that one back. Hello, good morning. So why we just on a lighter note? That's why I said if you don't have a grasp of the matter, don't call. I beg. It better make you learn history. Follow the conversation, learn the matter. When we say you can't call, they tell you they pay you for Bele. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, welcome, sir.
Good morning, the group captain.
Good morning to you, Mr. Akpan.
I'm happy to have Akpan.
Calling from York.
Yes, Mr. Akpan. Another historian.
I want to start with what Baba
Ahmed. Hello? Yes, Mr. Akpan, go ahead.
There is no election that can produce the president without vote from the South. The Constitution is there. It says you must score 25% of the vote in about 24 states. Do we have 24 states in the North? We have 19 states. That means that some states in the South will also have to be included. And with the introduction of Karidat, we have seen that all those elections that gave Kano State 7 million were shambles.
Absolutely.
They were just a caricature of election. So those issues now have gone into the trash can. It's a new era. So what I'm trying to say,
I really don't like this part right here.
He made a strong point.
Very, very strong point there. Forgive me if you're trying one particular line and it's not going through. Please, you must forgive us. I don't know what's been happening with that line since morning. I've been complaining. So let all traffic go to the very first number. I think that can accommodate. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, welcome. Your name, please.
My name is Ete Frank from Uni.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Yes. Good morning, the guests.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. If we look at the Bible, we discover that the tongue that God has given to us, has been described as either you use it to cause war or you use it to cause peace. So the tongue is an attacker. Well, if we want to support our man, our people, let us use terms of statement in order to make the country be in peace. And all those people that you have mentioned, they are looking for their own stomach. So we who are supporters, you should not come and destroy our hearts. Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu, he has suffered in this politics for quite a long time, since from the time of Obafemi Awolowo up to the time of Abiola. When you said that Amamechi was the one that made Shagari or Buhari to be a president,
No, he didn't say so. Please.
I don't.
He said he made.
I do not accept.
No.
You don't have the graphs of the issue.
No, sir.
You don't have the history, and when you don't have the history, it will be difficult to fit into the conversation.
Citizen, hold on. Sorry, I'm misrepresenting facts. He talked about the sacrifices that Mechi made. You don't forget. He said
what led to the coalition.
He don't forget. He said Buhari wouldn't have become a president without Jagaban. So please, if you have been following the conversations, you would have known. He never said so. Please, I'm on ground.
Okay. But so let us join together and allow Tinubu to complete his own tenure. Because this Tinubu, he has told APC that we should leave politics now and let us face the economy of the country. When the time of politics comes, we will go for politics.
Let me thank you. Let me thank you at this juncture, sir. Thank you for your contribution.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate you. So please ensure that you're following the conversation and ensure that you know what we are talking about. At the end of the day, what we're trying to do, we're having thought-provoking conversations that can change narratives, that can give some kind of reorientation, that can bring about some kind of realignment, okay? So these are not shallow conversations. These are deep conversations with historical backgrounds and facts to buttress the conversation so that you don't call and appear as if the whole thing is skewed. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ike.
Yes, welcome.
I call all the way from Ewedausi.
Welcome, and your name is?
My name is Mr. James.
Mr. James, we're great to have you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Ike.
Yes, sir, please.
I see Nigeria the way it was going, because at least I'm now above age. But the way things are going, sometimes I'm doubting our future of our children. Now, look at the president and the former president, and look at the Nigerian, and we are talking of politics. Who are the people that are going to fix this country? That is my question. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Again, I must repeat, whatever it is you're bringing on board, let it align with our conversation, okay? So if your thought pattern is going to be contrary to what we're discussing, I will advise that you just listen, please.
Not really. I think I know where he's coming from.
No. I'm not talking about him.
Okay.
I'm not talking about him. I'm just establishing generally.
Okay. I understand you.
Generally, so that people call and, of course, know what we're discussing, and whatever it is you're bringing on the table aligns, okay? These are very thought-provoking conversations. Another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Brother Ike.
Morning, sir.
My name is Comrade
Akamba Awa.
Calling from EO Labor Consultant. Sir, thank you, our dear guest.
I thank you, sir.
My thoughts. I just pray that this politics of 2027 will not break up this country. I just pray that it will not take us to where we were sometimes 1959. For example, sir, assuming that we go to 2027 and after the election, the North says we have a president, the South says we have a president. Won't we go back to the regional politics of one becoming a president ceremonially and one becoming a prime minister in order to make for peace? These are my own thoughts. Because I know one thing. If they said, if we don't win this election, the baboon and the monkey or so
will soak in blood.
Deep in their blood. That has been the thinking of our brother because they say they are the one that have the power to make and not make. That's the discussion. And therefore, if we get to that level, will it not be a regional politics of to your tent to Israel? My thoughts. What do we do? Because we have seen that our unity is by diversity this time. And the unity doesn't want to stay. I suspect, and I pray, I want Nigerians to pray, that what these politicians want to do in this country will not lead. Don't forget that as we are talking, there are terrorists, there are other people lurking behind to destabilize this country. I hope it will not give them an opportunity to seize that and do what is in their own game plan. It's my thought. At 70-something, I should be able, I have seen it all. 2016, I have seen it till today. And that is my dear brother. Please, if I'm wrong, forgive me, but that's how I feel about what I'm saying.
Okay. Comrade,
it's not as easy as we are talking.
Comrade, at this point, I must thank you. You've made some very thought-provoking contributions, and I must thank you, Comrade. Thank you again, Comrade. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Very, very, very deep.
Yes, it is deep. Our conversation is deep, and we come out with facts like you tried to say, and I think it was Albert Einstein who said, if you cannot explain a thing for somebody to understand in a very elementary format, you don't know it. We've simplified it. Akamba Awa has further asked a very powerful question
very pertinent
in
question.
A very simple way that everybody should understand. But when you put all the contributors so far together, Apan said you need 25% in 24 states and Abuja. Abuja stands alone. Abuja is not a state as he's saying it. Now, nobody, no region has that number. So that has agreed with what I said, that there is nothing like, oh, we have the numbers here, we can do this, we can do that. That is cleared off. Our man that was talking about the tenor, we should allow Tinubu finish his tenor. That's on sentiment. When a leader comes, like Tinubu has said himself, I asked for the job, don't pity me. It's bad. I came and inherited the destroyed administration and all of that. He was part of the administration of Buhari. He was the national leader of the party. But like Senator Fabio said, they never even allow him to enter meeting. You won't see him at meeting. They won't even invite him. So what are we looking at? Now he's on the saddle. You don't bring sentiment. You have to produce results. You have to help your leader produce results. Otherwise, nobody eats his cake and have it. Now, Akamba Awa, the issue is that I don't foresee the breakup of the country.
No, it won't happen.
I know as in, some people say, and now like the shadow government, which APC warned Jonathan that if you don't allow us to win this election or rig this election, we are going to set up our own alternate government. And our man just...
I think that was in 2015?
Yeah, ahead of 2015 election.
Yeah.
But all the same, what we are looking at now is that things are worse than before. So what you do is to look for solution. It's not time for politicking, but politicking started from first year.
Yeah, no, citizen, let me just take some more messages and contributions.
Okay.
Of course, things have been bad. And we know that things are
We
bad.
have to make things better.
And the president is doing his best.
We must help the president. Yes.
Thank you very much.
We must help the president.
Of course, we should, and we will.
That's what we are doing.
So this one here says, good morning, Captain. Let's face it, the northern part of the country has long been driven, by a sense of entitlement. That's how I can sum up. Not always been satisfied, to create issues where none exist. Okay, you are using very strong words here, so I'm editing some of your words. Sometimes when you type, you think the reader should just read it. You don't know that your message is very strong, and if I were to read it the way you type it, we will have issues. The truncation of the northern president's tenure was by the natural course of events, not by human design. Even if the North were given, Udeme, some very strong points you've made here, and some things you've also sent as a message that I cannot even try to read. Now me they do the job, now you they send the message, so I should know what is fit and what is not fit. This one says, good morning, Captain Ike and Citizen MKO. It's always a very pleasant time listening to you, Citizen.
Thank you.
And this is from Emma Akpan. Says, your analysis, history, politics, constitution, etc. are like the sculpture food to my soul. Mm-hmm. You are just very intelligent. I find your intelligence very challenging. I respect you, just as Barrister Ikemini Udem. You are not like those who come to the studio and expressing their sentiments in the name of analyzing politics. You say it as it is, not minding whose ox is God. Kudos, and God bless you.
Amen. Bless you, sister.
And I have my brother, me and you know the fight. He's reminding me that I call him controversial, and he has chosen to remain controversial.
Imagine.
That is not something you should be proud of, choosing to be controversial. But on a day to come, we'll go do English for the term of controversy.
I think so.
We go sit down and discuss English.
Thank God he's not notorious.
What's it controversial mean and all of that. But of course, there's a point of unanimity. And I thank you, my controversial friend, Mr. Emma Akpan. Thank you, or Ima Akpan, because sometimes I don't know whether to call it Emma or Ima. Because you have EMMA, and then you have EMA. EMMA, and then you're supposed to say
Emma is EMA,
not double M,
not double N.
Okay, so now Emma now. Emma. So more live as Emma. My brother Emma or Emma. Hello, good morning.
Hello,
Ms. Akpan, you're back.
Yeah, I think the network disrupted me.
Yeah, the network has not been fair to you.
What I'm trying to say is that election to produce a president, they are both ways. The North and the South must be included. The card reader has come to expose the shams we have in the name of election. For Elisha Abu, they want to be the group managing director of NMPC and all the directors. Tinubu has come to say enough is enough, and I support that. It is not always there when they don't have the upper hand. He says the president sacked in 13 trillion in one project, that the whole money has spent since 2 years in the North is not up to that. If that is true, so be it. It is turn by turn. This is the turn of the Southwest. Let them enjoy their turn. That is my own opinion. I may not be right, but so be it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akpan. I like your bluntness and frankness too. Not often you find Mr. Akpan being very frank. Not often. But of course, on this occasion, he's chosen to be very blunt. We're still taking calls, by the way, before we eventually birth the conversation and then disembark. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Ike.
Morning. Are you just waking from sleep?
I'm not. Just overwhelmed by your discussion.
Well, it's thought-provoking. It's deep.
I am a first-time caller.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
wouldn't have been so, but it's just that I've never been lucky to be picked up.
Well, you're lucky today, so we should call it Christmas Day.
I want to plead with you, please tell your people that each time they are reading out numbers, they should take their time.
I do take my time.
No, not you.
Okay.
Not you.
Okay.
I mean your people.
I'll tell them.
I don't really have much to say. Already you've warned us. We shouldn't come in anyhow. I refuse the warning. I may not be right, but I'm calling because of your guest. I've been listening to him. I am an ardent listener. I just love everything about his bluntness, his audacity, his name, he's a citizen. Very interesting. Just calling to encourage him.
I thank you.
To keep talking, that there are people that are listening to him and people are encouraged. Just saying this to motivate him to keep talking. Keep talking.
I thank you. Consider it done.
Thank you. So we didn't catch your name.
Oh, I am Patricia.
Patricia. Thank you so much, Patricia. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you too, sir.
All right. Citizen, you know that a lot of times, there are conversations that you have people just call in that are not your regular callers.
Like
just to let you know that, look, we they hear or we they listen, keep talking. We're listening. I feel very encouraged.
I attended the 70th birthday of one of the brightest minds in Akwa Ibom that you may never know, and some people never know. His name is Mr. Kandem Akwa. He was 70 years today. And guess what? All he did, almost half of the time, was to introduce him to his guests. And the reception, Professor Kandem, I greet you, Doctor. I mean, they hear what we say. They hear the name, but they never knew that this figure is like this. They said they appreciate what has been happening on air. And sometimes they stop going out because they just want to finish the program because they can't afford to miss. And that is what you have been able to do and what others too have been able to do. And the sacrifice that we also do to even also buy money to pay for airtime. I was here. I'm somewhere else now paying for airtime just to talk. Like our sister Patricia, I assure you, I will never stop talking because I will have been 6 feet down the grave. But God kept me alive to do what I'm doing.
So keep talking.
Yeah.
Continue to sue you.
Sue you too.
Hello, good morning. Yes.
Good morning, Group Captain.
Yes.
Good morning, Citizen O'Connor.
Good morning, my brother Joe.
This is Joe calling from Uyo.
Yes, Joe.
My people, I want to say that the Northerners should know that during a military regime, they were like
I wouldn't want you to say the Northerners because I would rather you use the North. It's more palatable for some reasons. Don't say the Northerners, otherwise you'll be stereotyping, and I don't want that.
It's all right. So military regime was like the North is the owner of the Nigerian army or Nigerian military and even the nation. So they are not losing. So we are not complaining about that kind of a military regime. So for them during this democracy,
some people in the North. Please again, I find myself correcting you. Not them, some people in the North.
So they are not losing out. And I want to say that for someone to be simple, that anybody can use him anyhow, does not mean that person is good. And that person was a good, leader. So I want to say that maybe Tinubu did not want Jonathan to waste the whole time, like if the Southerners had somebody on the throne that can attract a certain thing. Jonathan did not give us any vital office. Even a certain project.
Okay, so today is not the day to cry about what Jonathan did or didn't do. On the day to come, we will look at that.
What I want to say is that we cannot rightly say that he was they remove him as a good governor.
Every single thing everything is on personal opinions. Okay, so make your own personal opinion, which you made, and I must thank you at this point, Joe. Thank you, Joe. You don't have the luxury of time. Citizen, wrap this up, please.
We never mentioned what Amechi said. at the fora that is becoming very topical. Let's quote him. He will help us.
That's your pattern shot.
Pattern shot very fast. I met President Tinubu in Yola and told him I will not work for you and I will not vote for you. I told him like that. People have been saying I do not work for all progressive APC or the PDP. That's because I was convinced there was an issue of capacity. Let me tell you, no Nigerian leader cares for the poor because they know that Nigerians can do nothing to them once they are in power. When Nigerians protested, the president announced an increase of the price of the fuel because they know you can't do anything.
This was Amechi talking.
Amechi talking on his birthday. Nigerian leaders and elites are not the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria is the followers.
That's a good place to live, citizen.
Yeah.
And it's ironical.
Yeah.
It's very ironical that the same Amechi is the one talking like this.
Yes, I told you certain things.
And I love what Seriake did to all of them.
Seriake is my man.
Seriake came to that birthday and gave it to all of them. He gave it to all of them. You conspirators, schemers, and whatnot.
Manipulators.
Citizen Yagaba, make way they go. We
Okay.
don't talk our talk. Thank you very much. Let me quickly apologize to you. I know that I taunted you during Manchester United. I find myself eating my words. I had said that Inter was going to win. I had to bow my